Good evening and welcome to Flower Lounge Live, the second one of a series. We've got lots more happening in the new year. Sponsored by the Floristry Trade Club, and my name is Caroline Marshall-Foster and I'm editor of Florist Trade Magazine. Now, thank you so much for being with us. We can't see you, but we know that there are hundreds of you out there and we really appreciate your support for what tonight has been called Preparing for the Peaks. And I purposely put a plural on it because this isn't just about Christmas. You're in business 52 weeks of the year, so this is about covering and building on what you've done in the last 6 months and preparing for the next 6 months. Because whilst Christmas is important, it's a part of your business, not the be-all and end-all. So what you're going to do now is going to prepare you for the next 6 months. And oh, aren't we lucky? We've got 3 peaks, which is going to be awesome. Now, we're going to try and answer all your questions and cover as much as is humanly possible in an hour. But if you have anything you want to ask us, all you have to do is go to the question chat box, which is either on the left, the right, or underneath, depending on what device you're looking at us on. Simply put in your name, type in the question, and one of my wonderful, wonderful people behind the scenes will whiz it over to us and we'll try and answer it. And if we can't answer it straight away, then I promise we will go away, find the answer and come back to you. Now, let's be honest. It's not particularly brilliant out there in the retail world. Some big names are not making it. And for smaller independents, it's really tough, but it is not impossible. And that's a view shared by my panelists, my guests for tonight, who will be sharing their secrets for survival and success. Now, first up, because M comes before N, we went through our alphabet, so we know that, is Morgan Douglas Nuth. Hello. And a man who admits he was destined to be a retailer, but that he had to learn the business side pretty PDQ, wasn't it? Yeah, that was it. Next, Nick Pegge, who runs a shop in Norwich, but has actually seen all parts of the industry. I think your father was a grower, and you've been a wholesaler and an importer, so you've seen it literally from ground up. But better, rather than me spend hours doing an introduction, Morgan, why don't you describe your shop, where you're based, and what sort of business do you run?
Okay, so yes, I'm Morgan Nuth. Thank you for having me. I've been a florist for over 20 years. I started my career actually from leaving school. And then I had my first shop. I've had shops in London. I've had 2, one in Hammersmith, one in Ealing. I've recently sold my one in Ealing, and I have my main base. I've had my shop in Ascot, where I'm based now, for 6 or 7 years. And I also run the Ascot School of Floristry from there as well. So I'm very happy and been working very hard at my Ascot store.
Excellent. But you're not just a retail florist, are you? Because
No.
you do design.
Yes. I like to get involved in all areas of the business because there's a huge floristry world out there, from demonstrating, teaching. I have a few ambassadorships underneath my belt, so the more you want to get involved with floristry, there's a big world out there. So yeah, I'm very honoured to travel all over the world with my career, and continue to do so. All the time.
I was going to say, I think people who say, they do that curled lip about, oh, you're a florist. Or in my case, oh, you're a journalist. They get terribly excited about me being a journalist, and then they realise I write about flowers, and they sort of go, ooh, that can't be very exciting. But it's a fascinating industry.
There's so much to do out there. There's a massive world of flowers that you can.
Phenomenal.
The more you can do, the more you can be excited and do lots of things.
And Nick, I mean, you've proven this because you literally were the son of a grower.
Yeah.
So describe your journey
I'm almost the opposite of Morgan, because Morgan is an artist who has taught himself the business side. And unfortunately, you can't teach yourself art. So whereas I've come through on the business side from my parents' nursery, they were one of the last commercial bloom growers in the UK. We had a wholesale import business where we wholesaled fresh flowers and cut plants. And we ended up with retail florists as a result of that. The nursery has since passed on and become a garden centre. The wholesale, just before Brexit, we pulled that out, wasn't going to be able to happen. And now we focus on the florist shop. We had a retail florist shop front, which we now shut and is online only. And we also have the business at the moment up to Daisy in Norwich, which is a commercial retail shop front, bricks and mortar traditional florist. So I focus on the business development side, the management and direction with my fellow director. But unfortunately, I'm not a floral designer, and I'm really envious of the creativity that everybody does. But as a result, I do have the cold, laser-like, analytical, hardness of making tough decisions sometimes. So it's a flip side.
And I think there is this risk that, I am intrinsically a creative lovey. And fortunately, I'm married to an accountant who goes, no, you can't do that. You do have to be analytical about it. You can't just stuff an extra flower in or sort of not worry about your costs or anything, or think, they were a nice person, I'm going to give them something bigger. It doesn't work that way anymore, does it?
It would be nice, it would be great if, obviously I know you're married, so I'm not proposing to you, but if we had a child together and it had your knowledge of business and my creativity, it's kind of the perfect person to be able to run a florist these days.
Absolutely.
Because you need them both. You need both. And I think that's really what we would like to impart with everyone, really, isn't it? To be able to have that enough of his business mind and enough of sort of my creativity to be able to be successful in the coming years in our current economic climate.
We haven't got to call the lawyer just yet. So,
no. Your wife
fire
is
for
safe.
a bit. Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, how are you feeling about Christmas? Because, we can't ignore it is happening, and it seems to be happening earlier than ever. I don't start Christmas till the 1st of December, but, people were punting Christmas in October.
Yeah, traditionally I would never have really marketed. Not necessarily, I would maybe have it on the website available to view. My store definitely wouldn't have necessarily been fully Christmased, with all the tinsel on the window and everything,
Is it now?
Product. And actually, I've done it earlier than ever. And actually, something you said earlier reminded me, I was out shopping, for myself in town, and I saw, the likes of big retail giants have it all out there ready to see, and people were walking around with miniature trees and bags of baubles, and I thought, I should be doing that should be me. So I went straight back to the shop the very next day and said, we're putting Christmas out, and it's selling. I think, people like those, lots of people like to be prepared. Mm-hmm. Unlike the rest of the year where everyone is very late, with Christmas, it's different. People like to be prepared. They want to consider decorating. They might want to decorate their houses early. So for me, it's now something I've put out early, and I'm able to now it's done, I can put all that extra time into my planning of what I need to do in store for my, for my profit and my money.
Absolutely. And are you Christmased up next in the shop?
Yeah, I think everyone's had such a ghastly year or two, and I think people are looking for that break. I haven't noticed much festivity on the TV at the moment, but it's starting to filter in the Christmas ads. Mm-hmm. John Lewis, one have been recently released, and now the planning, like you said, Christmas is something that people plan early, they decorate the houses early. We'll be looking at putting ours up next week after, because we're very, very busy as we start to get into the wreath workshops. I think if we need to be planning, it's probably too late to start planning now for this Christmas. We get skates on if not. But we need to be thinking past that. As you said, it's about the next peak and the next peak and the next peak. So the more ahead we are, the better Christmas we're going to have and the more relaxing time. Mm-hmm. Do all the work now, and that week, that run up, because
you hope it then be a bit more of a breeze.
Yeah.
It feel easier.
Yeah.
Rather than panicking.
Yeah.
That brings us to something when we were doing our sort of preamble chats. So Morgan's was, so when I asked what were your 3 top tips, you went prepare, plan and promote.
And I know
Nick,
prepare and plan sound quite similar, but
oh no,
they're not. Yeah.
no. And Nick, you said reduce range and pre-orders. So do you want to just expand a bit on the reduce the range and pre-order bit?
I think with every peak, we want to reduce what we're having to buy. And probably most importantly, I think this year especially, is pre-order. Get your orders into the wholesalers early. Production's down, as we all know. Rose growers are stopping growing this year. Arend and a few others are keeping going, but the quality isn't going to be there. Chrysanth production is going to be down over 50%. Lysianthus, again, down over 60, 70% because they're the big heat and light users. So who knows what's going to happen? You want to make sure you're going to be able to get the stock. Every other year, we look at the pre-order list the wholesalers give us and we think, that looks a bit pricey, we'll buy a little bit. And then it gets 2 days before Christmas and the email comes in, half price, we got 200 Freedom, 50p, please take them. That's not going to happen this year. Order early and sell what you've got. And if you can, sell out Thursday, Friday, give yourself a few days and nice Christmas yourself. Reduce your range online to maybe 5 or 6 items with pretty much the same items in it within a little. And you're reducing so many headaches. Sell what you've got out of that range and have 3 or 4 sizes in 6 or 7 items and you save yourself a lot of headaches. As you said, Morgan, you need some different colours for the birthdays and the people who don't want Christmassy stuff.
A couple of little all year round is always good. And I like, the idea of, reducing, and I'm definitely taking that back to my store as well. And I think, but maybe I'll have a little bit more of range. Yeah. But then I only have 20 of that product and 25 of that one. And once it's gone, it's gone. Yeah. And then keep maybe my core bread and butter, 6 or 7 great selections that I can really reduce down to. That it's a really good tip.
I think we shouldn't be too customer-led. We are the specialists, we are the experts. And sometimes we focus, we know more about flowers than the customers. The customers want a great product and they want that emotion and that gift. And it's up to us to sort of engineer them and guide them to where we want them to be.
But maybe, we're going to cover range and options later on. So in terms of promote, you are both big advocates of social media. Now, I have to say, yes, I use social media and I don't live, eat and breathe it. And I do believe in things like newsletters and leaflets and things like that. So do you do anything other than social media? We'll come back to social media in a minute, but do you do anything other than social media?
Yes.
And
so
what might that be, more?
Sort of email shots, website, new blogs, and of course, on top of that, social media. For me, I'm very lucky. I have a very busy footfall shop, so I can actually, while people are having things bespoke made, we can promote and talk to them. Communication with our customers, facing our customers, is great because if you enthuse them enough, they go away and tell Aunt Jane and cousin Nora. They're our biggest sellers. Really.
So the whole word of mouth.
Word of mouth is wonderful. A wonderful thing that we should really tap into. Be a storyteller. Our stores can create emotion in themselves, and if we can make our customers even more enthused by it, even whether that be knowledge about care or production or tips and tricks and all these things, just having that lovely trickle of conversation with them about what you're doing is key to keep them interested. And also it reiterates that we are experts, that we're good at what we do and we're knowledgeable. Because you certainly can't get that at a checkout in a supermarket, can you, when you're buying a bunch from there? But you can with us. And that really keeps them coming back. Whether they come back to spend £5 or £5,000, what it means is that they remember you because you are knowledgeable.
Yeah. I think, but you know, the £5 can lead into the 5,000.
Of course.
You know, if you were really nice to that woman who, you know, you spent hours talking about one plant and she bought it for a fiver, you don't know that she doesn't have a daughter who's about to get married and wants to have
and have a huge
with
budget,
a wedding.
absolutely. But even if she tells, you know, she will often, it encourages people to then go home and do social media for you, because they will put it on their Instagram, their Facebook, their TikTok, whatever platform they use, and talk about you.
Yeah.
They will inevitably know that because you've spoken about it, you must have that platform too. Generally, we do. They often tag us, and they're doing my social media for me.
No,
And all I have to do is share.
I mean, I remember you and I were working on a Colombian flowers project,
Yes.
and one of your customers came in, and she didn't know we were going to be in the store, and we had a whole load of Colombian roses, and she said, "Oh, I love these," and Morgan's told me all about these Colombian flowers, and she comes in specifically.
Yes, she does.
You know, and you wouldn't think it would matter, but she was fascinated by the backstory of those flowers.
Yeah. And people are fascinated by stories of flowers.
Yeah.
You know, matter from the most simplest of care tips to the really detailed, intricate stories about the growers. Because, you know, we know a lot of growers. We know a lot about everywhere because we're interested to know. Because the more ammunition we have about our product that I don't just simply want to buy it, I want to know about my product so that I can impart that and create interest.
I mean, it's one of the major USPs of a bespoke florist, having that knowledge
Absolutely.
that a supermarket, sorry, I keep bashing my thing, that the supermarket just doesn't have. And let's face it, I think even the big retailers, the supermarkets are struggling. And you know, I personally think there are some huge opportunities. We're going to talk about that later.
I would add that the peaks are times when people buy flowers when perhaps they wouldn't otherwise. So you've got a whole load of new customers there. When you send your bouquets out, make sure you've got a printed card, as we
This
use.
is this is an Upsa Daisy Norwich design.
I'm going to be having these next week.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a really nice size.
Well, on these, I mean, yes,
So
you
I
have
don't know. Can you see that? So a beautiful graphic, and then on the back, it's got. Oh, let's take. And I love the sustainable.
Exactly.
Mix. You know, again, it's another little story you can talk about that you're
cleaning your
using. You know, a pick that's. Oh, I don't want to put it in there, do I? And then on the back, a whole load of information, a QR code, a call to action, all the information about and because it's so pretty, you'd almost want to put that on your fridge and keep it.
Well, we've got two different designs, and our vans are wrapped in all those designs. But you can also put on there a discount code for your next order. So you can get that customer in January, in February, in March, April, May. You can get them coming back throughout the year. Or, which is absolute gold dust, ask for your Google review on there, because that will rank your website above everybody else. The more positive reviews you get on Google, it's gold dust. But you have to ask for these things.
Yes, and I think that customers are quite happy. That in the main, customers are pretty keen to support a local shop, and we have to push that whole shop local, and you know, make us do a happy dance by placing your order with us, help us be happy, keep us, don't lose us, etc., etc. It is you don't have a high foot flow in your shop.
No.
What were you saying? 80-90% of your traffic?
I would say, 70 to 80% of our business is probably over the phone and online, and a very small amount footfall come in. People know we're there in a prominent area, but we're on a very busy road and they don't stop. And, you know, websites and social media, as you said, are our window. I went into Norwich city centre the other day for the first time in months. And even I was adverse to ordering online, but now I just do it as a matter of course, just to save time. And people do want to support local businesses. You'll support your local butcher if they're good but you have to be good, and we all take pride in our work. We are good at what we do, and we need to shout it from the rooftops and be proud of what we do. You know, we're all passionate about it. We just need to push that out there, and we will get support from customers, but we shouldn't be afraid of shouting at them.
And make a really good photo of your good products on
Absolutely.
your website. So that's really important as well, isn't it?
One thing that, because I've just done my, if you go to the florist.co.uk, you'll see that there is a 42 things, a 40-day or 40 list, a list of 40 things to do about Christmas. And one of them is that, you know, I've said check your websites and remove references to Mother's Day and Valentine's, because yes, dear viewer, I do see websites that still have Valentine pictures fairly prominent. Now, you agreed that the picture shouldn't be prominent, but you were actually saying earlier that you should keep your seasonal items on your website.
Yeah.
Explain why.
So, the algorithms on good old Google, which is still 80, 90%, Bing is about 10%, but they work in the same way, that you need to have, they spider through your website every 6 weeks.
Is that a bot?
Yes, so they look to see what content you've got every 6 weeks. Now, if you take your seasonal selections just into your back end, so they're not accessible from the front, Google can't find them, so they'll think they don't exist anymore, so they'll drop off. So what you need to do is don't have them prominent as your main range, because they look ridiculous in June to buy Valentine's flowers. Park them somewhere at the bottom. If you use one of the main sites, like Florist Windows, Florist Pro, one of those, very easy to do.
Florist Touch.
Yep,
eFlora, sorry.
yeah.
In true
Yeah, there are
BBC
many.
style,
There are
I
many.
do have to say that there are other service providers available.
Park them at the bottom. So if we put on the Valentine's ones are on there somewhere, and we still get orders for bouquets off that. That's fine. People are actually looking to find it, but Google won't then think it doesn't exist. See, if you think, right, it's October, I'm going to put the Christmas range on, you haven't got enough time for Google to come and find it and put it out there. So
it's
that's
almost
really
like
important.
being hidden in plain sight almost.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah. So it can find it if it wants to, then all you do is
spiders
click
and
it on.
bots to find it, but not the actual customer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Great, that's what I'll be doing.
That's it, yeah.
It is those spiders and
Yes,
bots. which
they're
are-
important.
I mean, the trouble is you could spend all your life doing social media, SEO, all that stuff. So do you have any quick hacks as to how to achieve good results without it taking over your life, given that not everybody has oodles of staff or oodles of time or skill-based?
What do you mean for social media or
For
just
social,
general?
no,
for
for social media.
If you don't have oodles of time, for me, I find the best thing is to promote, to actually do very quick, short, fun videos. Make it super fun, make it interesting, and be you. So actually be, facing the camera. Don't just show as much as this is absolutely stunning, what you really want is this stunning bouquet on your lap, and tell your customers how lovely the product is, and talk about it, be enthused by it, because people buy people.
But supposing you're having a bad hair day, like me. I mean, I went to the
But a fun
Sorry, this is why it's like this. But supposing you're having a bad hair day and you sort of think, oh, I don't want to do that.
But aren't we
Does
all?
authenticity
We're very.
count?
Yeah, it does, because we're very critical of ourselves, aren't we? No one really likes their voice, which is why I'm glad I'm not watching and hearing, because I would hate that. But we don't like our voices. We never like our own hair. We never quite like our jumper. We never think something's. But actually, no one, your customer won't really care, because they just actually think, my God, she's been working hard. She must have been busy. Her hair's a mess. Maybe that's
Is
the
that
case.
the excuse I'm going to use tonight?
Gosh, I've been so busy. My hair's a... But so it doesn't really matter. Of course, you don't need professional lighting. You don't need all of that gumph. What you need to be is just honest and true. And as long as what you're saying and doing with the product is beautiful and exciting, and people want to listen, it's the listening that's the key. But having you there, the owner or someone in the business, is important, because then when they walk in the shop, they immediately think they know you. You're almost their friend straight away. And I think that's really, really important.
And it is that whole people buy from people,
yeah.
and you know, perhaps being smaller is good. I mean, I look at Holly you know, Holly and Co. Holly Tucker, the
Yes.
original founder of Not on the High Street. And I mean, she's made a statement of her, you know, she wears these fabulous hair pieces, that's what I need. But she's always out there and she's in front of it. And I mean, she's done phenomenally well.
I mean, if, you know, maybe make a gimmick if you have, you know, a quirky hat or something, you know, like John with Flower Circus.
True.
He doesn't have hair, so therefore he has to wear a really funky hat all the time.
I've got a bowler hat, I'll wear that.
Make it fun. So maybe that it could be your thing.
Yeah.
Make something your thing, which then means you can hide your scruffy hair.
All right, okay. So
And we shall move on.
yes, let's move on about my hair. Nick, how's your hair doing?
Getting greyer. I think another thing you can do at the moment is you can, you said about another app, but you can get on things like Hootsuite, so you can line up your social media posts so they go out in a schedule.
More than Meta? Because I use Meta.
Yeah, there's different ones out there, and you know, I don't use them because we do it on a really, in an ideal world, you'll post twice a day, every day, and use the meta tags. Get on something like Hashtagify or something like that, put in flowers, cut and paste. You can have 200,000 followers, but there's no point if they're not going to buy off you. So it's better to have 100 good followers than it is 10,000.
That are on your doorstep and actually
Absolutely.
use you. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
You
engaging.
get hung up with the amount of people that actually follow us.
Yeah.
And it's actually not that important.
We all have size envy, but it's on that occasion, it's better. It's quality that counts.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
and you engage with your customers. If you had 1,000 customers standing outside your shop every day of the week, you'd go out and talk to them every day of the week. You know, it can't be underestimated how much we engage all the way through the year, and then you'll get the benefit at the peaks.
I think we actually spoke about this earlier very briefly, that I think we both do it. I think we both said we do it, but because obviously our shop fronts, we're only there for 8 hours a day, so people, you know, or 8 or 9 hours a day. But our shop front is actually there for 24 hours a day,
Yeah,
of course.
absolutely.
So we've recently put our QR codes in. We were saying actually that we used to use QR codes for lots of other things.
They used to just be advertising
Yes.
for companies, but now they've become instructions and they've become ingredients and details. You know, you don't even get a manual for your car anymore. You'll get a QR
So
code.
we've put all of our QR codes on our window that are our social medias. Scan this for TikTok.
How do you make a QR
There's
code?
an app. You just put the website, you put the address in, and it creates a QR code for you. So when people go to the window, they're now on the window. You can just scan it, and it goes straight to our.
So there's an app,
says,
a
yeah.
QR making app.
Absolutely, lots
Do
of
we know what it's
websites will
called?
do it. It's called QR Code Maker.
QR code.
It's one of many, many, many.
Other apps are
Yeah,
available.
there are many that can do it, and websites can do it for you as well. And then you can just paste and copy that and send it in an email to your phone, and you know, put it on all sorts. So now people can go to the window and see, scan this for TikTok, scan this for Instagram, and scan this for Facebook.
So you're effectively making your shop window
Because-
an interactive experience.
Because the people that are walking past my shop are the people that hopefully will be buying from me. It's pointless me putting it out there in the ether and then someone from Norwich becoming, you know, unless they've got an auntie or an uncle there. But actually, I want my closest people, like every chimney, I want to have one of them have my QR codes.
I mean, that's we talked about this years ago. My accountant of the day, rather than the one I ended up marrying, said, "How many chimneys have you got in the area? That is going to determine whether your business can be successful or not. Because if there's no chimneys." And chimneys can be flats as well. It doesn't have to be a physical chimney, but it's basically how many potential punters have you got in your area, and they are your key people. They're the ones that are going to pay your rent and your rates and your salaries, and you've got to connect with them.
Make it easy to buy.
Yeah.
Make it as easy as possible for somebody to spend their money with you. Take away all the obstacles.
Would you ever give up your shop?
No, I know you mentioned it in the Please Introduce Yourself. I I was that little boy that played shop. You know, I had the little plastic till by Fisher Price, and you know, everyone had to pretend to have a drink from a, you know, and a can of soup and all those. I loved it. I loved playing shop, and I loved, you know, even later, you know, when I was a little bit older, watching, you know, things like Art Cry and all of those things. I just loved it. I loved the idea, and but I like the general public. I like dealing with public. I like being in a service industry. So yeah, I don't think I could give up my store. I'm certainly not ready to do it yet. I really enjoy, you know, being able to market the shop and it ever changing, and just dealing with those emotions from hatches, matches, dispatches, and everything in between. Really, I really enjoy being in my store. So no, I couldn't. I could still make a career within floristry without it, but I would miss it dearly.
And I wonder if, because I know that you are not so convinced about having a bricks and mortar presence.
I think, no, I believe it is vitally important. Whether it's on a high street or whether it's on an industrial estate, I still think you need a physical base. And I think that sets shops apart. I really do believe that, a traditional bricks and mortar shop. But in this day and age, you know, we've got out-of-town shopping centres or high streets. So that's my conflict on that. It's where's best to position the business. I think the high street will flourish again. And I think the death of multiples it's almost like a forest fire burning and then the new growth coming through of good shops, good coffee shops that run well, good restaurants. You know, we're going back to basics. There was a time in the 80s and 90s when it was all, you know, Tesco's, Marks and Spencer's. You know, now there's lots thriving.
That's the key, isn't it? You just said it. It's the ones that are run well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, you know, and that's it's a very fine balance, really, because you can be fabulous accounts or you can be a fabulous designer, but that doesn't mean you're good at the other. And there's so many. When, you know, when I first started, I just thought, oh, I've got to open a shop, and it was all terribly exciting. But actually, slowly learning that you have to be everything, and from bookkeeper to pot washer and everything in between. It's actually very difficult.
And if you can't be everything, then you have to be brave enough to ask for help.
Absolutely.
And get somebody that can do it, because actually the money you will spend on bringing in that experience will probably pay dividends. And I know at the moment people are saying, oh my gosh, I can't spend anything, I mustn't spend anything. And yes, cash is going to be king over the next few months, but equally speculation for accumulation and bringing in expertise.
You have to invest.
Do you use any external?
Well, I would say that, you know, everybody watching here, I mean, it's almost like we're teaching them to suck eggs. But because all of us have brought in different experts, we've gleaned that whole thing about having your seasons on the website. That's because we took on an expert, Mark the Florist, who's analysed our website and given us ideas of how we need to change. It wasn't cheap, but you know, you invest for the future. Now, if we can we all want everybody to benefit. We're all good florists and we all care about our businesses. So we had Tim Huckabee come in from Floral Strategies. Again, very expensive, but it's transformed our business. Whereas our average order value was between 25 and 35 pounds. After he came in, it's now at 65 pounds and it hasn't changed.
Wow.
It's transformed it. It is just about the way we sell and the way we allow the customers to buy what they want, which has resulted in higher margin, higher average sales, less wastage, and less customer complaints. Very few now, because the customer, we're not telling the customer what they want, we're allowing them to buy what they want. So, you know, we certainly, and another interesting thing is, certainly with our local council, Broadland District Council, we subscribe to their newsletter, and every week we get advice on what grants are available and what help. And the councils are being very, very active in helping people at the moment. So subscribe to your local one. We had a £500 grant to get a social media expert in. We had a £2,000 grant for the automatic awnings to come in, and it all helps promote the business. And if somebody hadn't told us about that, we'll impart that knowledge to help others in our trade, because everybody cares.
Yeah. And
I think it is, and there is no place for mediocrity at the moment. I mean, mediocrity or just copycats. You know, it's like I loathe it when people just do something that looks like a supermarket bouquet, because I sort of think a bespoke florist should be better. They should be, and that neatly leads me on to some of the USPs that should be promoted for the peaks, for Christmas particularly, and delivery was top of my list, because I wonder if we're missing a trick by we've stopped promoting our same-day delivery. Now, I know during COVID it was sort of like, I can't offer same-day delivery, blah, blah, blah. But should we be going back to that? Should we be pushing our...
I've never stopped same-day delivery at all, and I think it's a very unique thing that we can offer. I think it should be a premium service, so I don't think it should ever be just a given that it would be the same for future days. I think it should be a premium, as well as an AM should be a premium. Gone are the days where we should ever be offering a cheap delivery service. Really be analytical of how much your driver costs, you know, from the tyres to the fuel, which is not cheap these days. Fuel is, you know, whoever thought it would be close to £2 a litre? You know, analyse these things, have a good look over the past that quarter, half a year, collate all of the logistics together and really work out truly what your van, your delivery service is costing, and price it correctly. And if someone is not prepared to pay that, they really shouldn't be asking for that service, because we are very unique. I know that I have many customers that will call and ask for something to be delivered within, if not an hour or two, same day. Absolutely, it's a premium service. I can have something handmade by an expert florist with premium quality flowers delivered to their door within a very short time period. That is unlike what almost I dare anyone to say what other company could do it.
There isn't.
So, you know,
I mean, it is completely and utterly
so
unique.
therefore it has to be a premium.
Yeah. And how do you... Now, you're based in Ascot, Berkshire. Yep. You were in London. Yep. So you have cost base that is pretty high.
Yes.
How do you cope in Norwich? I mean, is your cost base high? Is it all...
What, for transport?
Yeah.
Well, we have electric vehicles, which up until a few hours ago were tax exempt. So yeah,
you've got a couple of years to go,
haven't you? We made a conscious decision to invest in electric vehicles, and it's saving us £200-300 a week. So that helps.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is, and just on the environmental side, we'd never ever look back. We have a flat rate £5 delivery. We offer same-day delivery if ordered by 12. And as I said, any of the staff who mentioned the words, do you want that in the morning or afternoon, sort of a summarily taken out the back, because, you know, we do offer the premium same-day delivery, and next-day delivery is obviously normal price, but we avoid any morning or afternoon. It just helps us, because we're on quite a large geographical area. You know, we cover 1.5 counties. It helps tie everything in together. We do it at £5. We used to have a thing where it was £2.50 here, and then it's £7.50 there, and over there is £8.50, and how much is this and that and the other. But to help with the online side, £5 flat rate, and we actually make a profit on that, including wages, taxes, everything. So we do okay. We don't look to particularly make money on it, but we don't lose money on it. So yeah.
Well, I think that's the crucial thing.
It has to cover its costs.
It's got to cover all its costs, which is not just the person driving it. It's all the running costs.
Well, we go, we're only down the road. Well, I live next door to Amazon. They're not going to deliver for free, are they? And again, we tend to be people pleasers, but we need to stand by our margin, and we need to ensure that we have a business there next year to serve our customers. You know.
Well, I've just leapt forward to the people pleasing card, because well, no, because we are people pleasers by definition. Florists are there to provide comfort, solace, joy, help, you know, every emotion going with what we do. Do you think we please people too much?
Can you please someone too much? I mean, no.
Well, at your own cost.
Not at my own cost, absolutely not, no, because it's we have to make our customer happy who's placing the order. We have to be happy with the product, and the end customer who's being sent to the recipient also has to be happy. So we're almost making 3 layers of people happy, because we don't want to send out something that is not what we want to send out. The customer who's sending it inevitably will get a photo from, cousin Jane to say, "Oh my God, I love these." Hopefully she doesn't take a terrible photo, because then 2 people have got to be happy. We are people pleasers. We do love our jobs. We love, the world of flowers that we work in. So, yes, we do have to be people pleasers, but it has to be at a good profit margin.
Absolutely.
And that's why we should always look at the bouquet margin.
And always remember that, I think it was you, Nick, that said, we're artisans, we're unique, and we're skilled, and we should never forget.
Don't undersell yourself. As I said, if you take your car into Audi, it's going to cost you 60, 70, 80 pound an hour on labour for that. We've got skilled people, and we do undervalue ourselves and our skills, and we're good at what we do. We should be proud of it. And, people are willing to pay for that service. And sometimes just, if you ask for more, you might get it, and sometimes we do things too cheap, thinking, next week there'll be a big queue of people outside the shop and I'll really have made it. But next week comes and it's the same amount of customers. So,
I would dare anyone that's watching to, if they're unconfident about, they think they are underselling, to actually just do, a little bit more, and with confidence. And I think they'd be pleasantly surprised that no one will batter an eyelid. They'd be quite happy to pay a bit more for a great product.
There's one trick, and I beg everybody just to try it for next week. When somebody on the phone and you talk about the flowers, use the words, our most popular range is our medium range, between 55 and 75 pounds, or we can do larger, and then keep quiet. Because most people would say, oh, 60, I'll have that. They'll go for the middle. Nobody will say, how dare you?
But you can tell by someone's tone, can't you, if they think, oh, well, that's a bit more. Well, actually, no, I can do.
But you're giving them a big, wide
gone
range.
in the middle.
Yeah, and they can go, oh, I didn't want to spend that. You go, oh, we can do cheaper. What were you after? But you give them the opportunity to spend between 55 and 75 pounds. Whereas the old days, how much your bouquets start at? 25 pounds. Right, you've told me the minimum I can spend, so I'll have that then. Is it going to be nice? Oh, yeah, it'd be nice. Now, they're expecting something huge. Yeah. Our most popular range is our medium range, between 55 and 75 pounds. Just see what happens. Give it a go.
So there you have it. You've all got to. We want to hear back from you. We've got an email list, so we can hear back from you as to whether you tried that.
And if it doesn't work, it was Morgan's idea. So that's fine. Please just try it. Please try it.
Range is between 55 and 75.
See how
or
it goes.
more if you want. Okay, now don't forget, if you've got any questions, please feel free to fill in the little form at the bottom, or the side, or the left, or the right. We're going to spread very quickly, before we get on to some of our Christmassy ideas, spreadsheets.
Oh, I love a spreadsheet.
I mean, you originally used to do it on one of those big red books where there was one side there and one side there, but you're now an Excel king.
Excel king, I love it, because I truly think that I need to know not just everything that goes in a bouquet and its Latin name and all of those things. I want to know every penny as well, because I'm a business owner. Ultimately, I need to pay myself a wage and pay my staff and all the costs associated with it. So I like to have spreadsheets. You can obviously, if you're adverse to Excel, you can of course handwrite everything down, but you must make constant references to monetary things so that you can look back and analyse what your pennies and your till is doing. So yes, I run a spreadsheet. So mostly for costing and for planning, because then I know that in either previous years I bought 60 bunches of pine for Christmas, for instance, or so many roses at Valentine's Day, or my summer collection was whatever. So I can look and say, right, 60 bunches of pine, I need minimum. That gives me the ammunition to go to my wholesaler and maybe say, I need this many, definitely.
Well, as Nick was
Can I
saying
have a good
earlier,
price?
you know exactly how much you're
Yes.
going to need, so now you can pre-order it.
Yes.
And let's face it, you could get the foliage in next week. It
Absolutely.
would survive.
Absolutely. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
and possibly at a better price than it's going to
And
be
then
later.
you can. So if your wholesaler thinks you're buying enough, you hopefully you can negotiate a good price.
So Excel spreadsheets, which, I mean, I'm not a whiz on it, but it is an awfully good device.
And there's a couple of online courses you can do, even on YouTube, that teach you some very, very basic things. Like, for instance, you can put in all your flower varieties and put in an average cost for the next 3 months or 6 months, whatever your wholesaler is prepared to roughly work with. And then you can, it's very easy for you to then look those prices up and add them in to all sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's very, very easy when you get a
Maybe
hang of it.
we'll have to do
Yeah,
a Flower Lounge Live, how to use Excel.
Very easy.
Now, I'm conscious about time, so don't forget, if you've got any questions, just ping them through to us. Let's talk about the actual flowers for Christmas, because we do have a bit of a tricky situation. With, Dutch growers having to go cold because of electricity costs and demand and production and all the rest of it. So what are the options? What are we looking at? What do we think is going to be a solution? Because you were talking earlier about the sort of, we're going to... I mean, one thing I would say is that the premier growers who have always serviced the florist sector are still, in the main, doing okay. So, I'm not going to name names, but, we do have some key suppliers and they are okay. But for generally, we were talking about chrysanthemums.
Right.
Absolute nightmare. Where do we go?
Well, so there'll be flowers. There'll always be flowers. The Russians will still be buying. The Colombians, South Americans are going to have issues with transport. The transport is the same as it was 3 years ago, which is nothing. The Dutch growers, as I say, chrysanthemums are going to be down about 50%. The quality isn't going to be there. Roses are going to be looking great, but go over really quickly because they haven't got that energy in the flowers.
But I think with the chrysanthemum grower scenario, I think that's overall there'll be a decrease, but some growers are still going to be at the same capacity.
But yes, but the overall will be 50% down.
Yes.
So certain growers will still be going. There'll still be flowers around, but just forward order. And don't leave it to the last minute because it won't get cheaper.
A lot of people, when we were, thank you, somebody wants to share your Excel spreadsheets.
I am more than happy to share those. If you contact me in some format, I'm sure, however that could be, contact me. I'm happy to then for you to say in what capacity you need it, and I will absolutely help. And for my flower family.
Yeah, because Morgan is one of our advisory panel on the Good Florist Guide, and I know that you help the GFG members, but our desire to help stretches way out. We are here to
we
help.
have to care for art because we're a bit of a dying breed. We've lost a lot, and
we're going to lose more.
And we will lose more. And I am more than happy to share. It's not a secret. I want us all to survive. Because the more great florists and bricks and mortar and great studio florists and all of those that are out there is more kudos to our industry. So I'm happy to support us all.
The more professional our industry can be,
absolutely,
the more successful is good for all of us.
Look out for new initiative in January 23. I will tell you more through the magazine. So going back
on volume, we'll be looking to order about 80%, I would say, that we ordered last year. I expect trade to be down a little bit. Incidentally, the word on the street is that Marks and Spencer's are not going to be doing bouquets this year, from what I gather.
You heard it here first.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, so they're going to be focusing on small vases, bottles, 5 or 6 stems. And if you look in their Christmas magazine, they're selling those for about £30. So that's a big chunk taken away. So I think I think trade will be about the same as last year. It certainly won't be up, might be down 20%. You gear at about 80%, you're not going to catch a cold.
Yeah.
We can sell out by Thursday, Friday, have a nice weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm predicting 2018, 2019 figures, which if you have your Excel spreadsheets, you'll know what it is. But going back to varieties, so I've just come back from Holland, and spray roses, which you've got here, were all over the place. I mean, they are absolutely fabberoony. And I think a really cool way for bespoke florists to add a really luxurious extra bit of volume. What say you? What's your thoughts?
Spray roses are, I mean, they're definitely a staple diet in my store. Some varieties I exclusively use for bouquet work, and some varieties from particular growers that are very heavy, dense-headed, you know, sort of 7 to 12 or more in some cases, heads per stem, I will use for sort of petite coffee table luxury designs, because you can break them down and split them over 3 or 4 and make slightly even better margins on. So buy by grower is very important. Know the variety and what they do, because you can often, some are 4 or 5 beautiful heads, like the bubble, some bubble varieties, 70 centimetre, great for bouquet work. Longevity is really good on them as well, but some of the very heavy, shorter stems, you can split over multiple hat box designs and coffee table designs and make great margins.
Yeah.
Great margins.
And I think now more than ever, buy the better quality flowers. Don't be fooled.
Yes.
Save 20 pence on a stem and go for something that's not up there. The difference between margin, the actual price paid between the best quality and the lowest quality is so narrow now. It used to be 3, 4, 5 times the price. Now there's only 20, 30p in it. Go for the better
I mean,
ones.
sometimes one stem of great quality, you know, Lysianthus can be made into almost, you know, you might buy a wrap of 10, you know, but actually one can go and 3 or 4 bouquets.
If you're doing arrangement work, then one really quality stem of Lizzie is much better than buying
Some Lizzie
3.
is so long and leggy, actually, you can break it down into bouquet work as well. So that's an anomaly.
But
for
it's about
Lysianthus.
ducking and diving on your buying. It's about, you know, in the old days, you used to, the old days, sort of a year ago, 18 months ago, you could just order the same old and not worry about it. Now, and one of the brilliant things about bespoke florists is that you can change your product range every week. Twice a week, you can literally go through the websites and see.
Isn't that another beautiful USP for us, though?
It's fabulous.
Because our stores can change almost daily. I mean, they can look like a whole new world every other day of the week, just by the way in which we purchase and buy. Not just seasonal, but, you know, by colour. Change your stands around.
You've got to then make sure that you're telling your customer, oh my gosh, look at this flower came in this morning, it's brand new this week, you know, just get a picture, you know,
And if you don't want, you know, maybe if you're too busy, some people, you know, we're quite lucky we have great staff. You know, some people do work on their own.
They're watching, aren't they?
I know. Some
Brilliant
people
staff, brilliant.
Some people do.
You're
They are.
marvellous
Oh,
team.
my
I couldn't
staff
live without
are
them.
amazing. I adore that. I actually do adore my staff. Some people do work on their own, and they might not have the time to be able to do that. But that doesn't mean that you can't, like you said, with maybe a new variety or something they want to shout about that's fun, interesting, some beautiful, unusual rose varieties or whatever it might be. Make a little, you know, card and just put some by the door or something that, you know, makes people stop and read it. Because again, if you don't have the time, maybe you can think of another way to invite that in.
And if you do have staff engagement, because you engage all your team.
Absolutely.
You divvied all your social media channels between your team.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you've got one doing TikTok, you've got one doing
blogs,
et
one doing
cetera,
something else, yeah.
We're going to have to wrap up soon, but I'm going to whiz this out as my solution to the flower crisis. This is actually a Bract. It's from, this is an English grown poinsettia, but for those who don't know, a cut poinsettia Bract is one of the most effective ways of filling a design, and it will, if you treat it and cut it properly, which is basically cut it as you would normally, dip it for 10 seconds in boiling hot water, then put it in freezing cold water so that it seals. Use it in hand tides and arrangements, even in a medium that you want to use if it's an arrangement, and it will last for ages. Please
It does.
vindicate me, Mr.
I absolutely, yeah,
Nuth.
no, they really, really do. And yes, this one was taken from a plant. They work equally as well in longevity. So often if you get some in and they have a broken bracket, you can use that. Don't throw it away. You can buy commercially cut grown ones that are, very hardy and long lasting. And as Carrie said, a couple of Christmases ago, I bought them quite a few Christmases ago now, because Carrie, you
feed you up, sorry.
made me love,
I know, I've
love
made
them
you
so
do
much.
a lot of things, but I want to make other people do something else.
I did give my mum some for Christmas in a bouquet, and they were still with her at Mother's Day.
I know, they can honestly try cut poinsettia.
Brilliant.
In bouquets and arrangements, I promise you, marvellous. Now, I'm going to end this on, however much doom and gloom there is out there, you've still got to have fun at Christmas. And I am, as Morgan has indicated, I have forced him to try doing new things, but they've always worked, like your flat pack bouquets, your living cards, all those things.
You are,
so
they always work.
they all work. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I am introducing the Grinch tree. Now, the Grinch tree is what I think is possibly the Christmas seller. It won't appeal to everyone, but they are so easy to make.
And customers will think this is adorable.
They love them.
I have seen a couple of people put, eyes on them, and
Yeah, you
they're
can
cute.
have googly eyes. You can cover them with all sorts of stuff.
Keely loves our Grinch trees.
Well, they are very
Thank you,
classy ones,
Keely.
but I can promise you, they don't all have to be classy, and they will still sell. You can use the teeniest, tiniest conifers to make baby Grinches.
Yes.
You can use these big ones. You can fabricate absolutely enormous ones for your window. But Grinch trees are my prediction for Christmas 2022.
Will you be having them?
No, he doesn't.
Well, this is why I'm not a floral designer.
You told me about your Father Christmas.
We do.
orchid.
I think you need something gimmicky and you need something fun. And, like I say, it's been dark times. That's perfect. Whether we used to do Santa pants, so it was coming down the tree with an arrangement coming at the top. Get yourself a little Christmas design. That you'll just turn into gold. So, yeah, perfect.
And the profit margin on that, I can promise you, ladies and gentlemen, is awesome. Absolutely awesome. And this makes sure that every delivery that you send out at Christmas carries a forward message, a message that's going to keep people engaged for all the weeks after Christmas. It's not all doom and gloom. I think for retail florists, bespoke retail florists who really go the extra mile. And I know I keep saying you've got to go the extra mile. You've got to duck and dive.
Be brave, be confident, and
absolutely.
Be good. Yeah.
You've just got to
You
keep
can
getting,
do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
In the next few days, this is a prime time to get your mail shot out. Get onto MailChimp. It's free. Keep your customer details as long as you've got permission. Get your specials offers out. Get your ranges out. Shout out to our customers how good we are, because we are good.
Well, you've just done your 22nd roundup. What's your 22nd roundup for Christmas 2022?
I definitely prepare, plan, and make it the best you can possibly make it, and ultimately just have fun.
Yeah, because
And make money.
Yeah, but Christmas isn't just for our customers, it is for everybody, it's for all of us. I like Nick's idea about, selling out on Thursday or Friday and having the whole Christmas weekend to ourselves. I hope that you've enjoyed this evening. I hope that you have picked up some good ideas from it, not just for Christmas 22, but for 2023 as well. If you have any questions that you didn't want to ask online, then just ping us at Floristry Trade Club or the florist.co.uk, and we will do what we can to help. In the meantime, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Have a great rest of the evening, and thank you for watching.